Hello comrades, and this is a little response to RedScare about his video on language. Now, in his video, he basically says that it's, I guess, wrong to demand that people don't use so-called reactionary or oppressive language, like language which could be interpreted to demean or attack minorities, like ethnic minorities, sexual minorities, or women. He's saying that it's basically liberalism to demand that people don't use those words. And don't get me wrong, like I don't think he's homophobic. I don't think he's racist. I don't think he's sexist. At least there's no malicious intent. But basically, my position is that because there actually are, I know where he's coming from, because there are actually people who are like, oh, you use these words, therefore you're not a communist, therefore I will not associate with you anymore, and therefore something, we will never be on speaking terms again. No, that's stupid, that's wrong. That's like ultra sectarian, splitting over absolute nothing. However, my position on this is that, like, why do you really need to use those words? Like, why? I don't have any need to use words like, okay, I'm gonna use the words for this video for the sake of demonstration, but I have no reason to call anyone a faggot. Doesn't matter if they are actually gay, doesn't matter if it's just some kind of an insult or a joke or something. I don't have to do that. Why would I need to do that? Same with bitch or cunt. I mean, I used in one of, like, some of my videos, I've probably used those, but why do I need to use those? There's no real need for me to do that. They are potentially offensive to people, and it doesn't really matter what the other side thinks. Doesn't really matter what the context is. Objectively, they are still oppressive language. Like, in the best case scenario, nobody's gonna take them badly and nobody's gonna get offended, but that is still what that kind of language is. It is oppressive language. You're referring to females or gay people or any other group like it's a bad thing, like it's like calling somebody a retard, like somebody who's actually somehow mentally challenged, like they're somehow less of a person. I'm not saying that, oh, I'm not gonna, like, if somebody uses those words then they're not a communist or they're a bad communist or something like that. No, I mean, they're just words. It's not such a big deal. They're just words. That's why I kinda agree with John Doe on this. When he was basically saying that people get so mad about these words that they forget everything else. And that is true. Some people do that. Some people are willing to, like, sacrifice the entire movement basically just because somebody uses the wrong words. So yeah, the words don't matter that much. However, I think it would still be better if people would not use those kinds of words and that kind of language. There's no real good need to use those words. There's no justification for it. The only counter argument to this is it doesn't matter, or why can't I use those words when other people use them, or something like that. And when RedScare says that it's liberalism to demand that people don't use these words, it's actually the opposite. It's liberalism to demand that you be able to use them when there's no good reason for using them, because liberalism is making an exception for yourself. So the examples of liberalism that Mao gives, they're like to let things slide for the sake of peace and friendship with a person who's clearly gone wrong, so you don't criticize your own friends because you're making an exception for yourself. To indulge in irresponsible criticism in private instead of actively putting forward one's suggestions to the organizations, to hear incorrect views without rebutting them, to indulge in personal attacks, to see someone harming the interests of the masses, and yet not feel indignant or dissuade or stop him or reason with him, but allow him to continue. That is liberalism. Liberalism is when you don't care that somebody is doing something wrong, or you don't care that you are doing something wrong, even if it's not like let me repeat, this is not such a big deal. This is not like some completely, like, the most important thing out there at the moment. So I'm saying that it's basically a small manifestation of liberalism when you use language which could be potentially offensive, which is objectively speaking oppressive language, I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and like he made a good point that it just makes us look bad. It doesn't even matter if it's offensive or if it's sure if it's offensive, then everyone is like, why would we want to offend people who are essentially on our side? Like we want all these oppressed groups like sexual minorities, ethnic minorities, they're basically on our side. Why do we want to use language which is potentially offensive to them? Why? And using language like that, I don't know if people actually use those like in their day-to-day lives. I kind of doubt it. I think it's like largely like internet language. Like I don't ever, even like when I still used words like that on the internet, I never called anybody like a cunt or a faggot like real life in IRL. So I think that's also a component of it. People use that kind of language on the internet, and you know, may I just suggest that maybe we shouldn't. There's no good reason to use those words. So consider stopping using them. Like that's kind of what persuaded me. I stopped using those words because I don't really need to, and I don't really benefit from using them, and it's potentially harmful. So why even do it? But yeah, that's my response. That's my view on the subject, and yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.